Bonjour ou bonsoir la team HTM et comment allez-vous? Au programme, on va parler du changement de direction d'Overwatch grâce à Overwatch 2. Des changements qui vont avoir beaucoup d'impact. Par exemple, si je vous disais que le gameplay va changer. Bon, eh bien, c'est parti! La communauté d'Overwatch attend énormément Overwatch 2, ce qui est normal vu que le premier opus et le second opus vont être associés, ce qui veut dire tout simplement qu'il y aura beaucoup de nouveautés du côté d'Overwatch. Mais la question qu'on peut tous se poser, quels seront les changements? On va commencer du côté de la compétition. Les parties ne se feront plus en 6v6, mais cette fois-ci en 5v5. Directement, ça a eu un impact du côté de la composition. Il ne sera plus disponible d'avoir deux tanks dans une équipe. Cette fois-ci, vous en aurez qu'un seul. Suite à cela, le directeur d'Overwatch, qui se nomme Aaron Killer, a déclaré que ce changement aiderait à clarifier le combat et à créer un gameplay plus fluide. Ils font cela pour que les joueurs utilisent plus leur environnement, mais aussi qu'ils jouent plus stratégiquement et agressivement. Là, si je devais vous donner mon avis, je trouve que c'est une très bonne idée. Il est logique qu'un jeu de stratégie, s'il devient plus stratégique, c'est toujours mieux. Je vous ai parlé de la classe des tanks. Ils vont devenir des combattants de première ligne au lieu d'être des combattants fixes. Ou autrement dit, des boucliers fixes. En plus, pour compléter chaque rôle, ils auront tous un bonus passif. Par exemple, les tanks seront plus résistants, et ils réduiront les gains de charge des ultimates quand ils prendront des dégâts. Tandis que du côté des héros axés sur les dégâts, ils vont obtenir des bonus de vitesse. Les soutiens, eux, pourront se soigner automatiquement, seulement bien sûr s'ils ne prennent pas de dégâts. Voilà tous les changements qu'on aura avec Overwatch 2. Des changements qui, je pense, vont vraiment métamorphoser le jeu. On passe quand même d'une équipe de 6 à une équipe de 5. Et c'est pas vraiment quelque chose qu'on peut oublier. J'ai hâte de voir ce que ça donne directement en game. Bon voilà, c'est tout ce que j'ai pu vous dire du côté de Overwatch 2. J'espère bien évidemment que la vidéo vous aura plu. N'hésitez pas à me dire ce que vous en avez pensé dans l'espace commentaire. À me donner vos avis du côté de tous ces changements. Pour terminer, on se retrouve très vite pour une prochaine vidéo.
Yeah, which like this, even the Zen placement of the orbs, it's so much better. Like more in the middle rather than having it on this side.
Oh yeah.
I think that's really nice. I've noticed like the little changes with like having Mercy, like it shows when Mercy's healing somebody a lot more clearly, and I like having the icons of who it's on, you know. I like the I wish to see more with Ana. Like I would love to see with Ana having it show like who she slept like on the UI.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
Yeah.
Like that would be so cool.
Especially because, you know, I feel like I have to tell my DPS player that's in the enemy backline, I don't know if you saw that, but I just let the far out the air, and they just
I know, I slept someone, yeah.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you throw one, you don't know who it hit, like because there's so much going on. You're like, okay, I definitely slept someone, but I'm not sure who it was. That might be important to know.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part. You sleep against you accidentally with a blade, and someone just wakes them up because they have no idea that you sort of slept them, right?
Exactly. Oh no.
And obviously, you as a player get indication if Mercy is healing or damage boosting you, right? Obviously, your screen sort of on live, your screen sort of takes on like a sort of a very slight non-intrusive glow. But it seems here you've also changed how it's indicated to you that Mercy is sort of damage boosting you. Is that also the case with like a nano boost, for example?
I can't remember if we've actually changed the 1P nano boost effect.
I don't think we have yet.
Gotcha.
I don't remember, but in general, there's like, you know, great big passes going across. I mean, really across the team. I mean, you can see the skin passes, and those emails get sent out all the time. Like, oh, look at these cool, you know, skin changes and, you know, tech we're getting. And then there's also VFX updates. Look at the VFX changes you're making and sound, of course. So it's kind of just awesome being, like, even if I'm not directly, you know, working on that stuff, just sort of seeing that stuff cross my email and the examples being sent out. It's just awesome, like day to day. Seeing all the changes.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure your inbox is sort of swarmed with them. I sort of wonder what the, look, it was mentioned at BlizzCon Online as well, that sort of the assault game mode, sort of, there wouldn't be sort of further maps developed for, right? The focus would no longer sort of be on that. So I'd love to know what the sort of thought process is between sort of the removal of assault, or 2CP as it's fondly known, and the addition of push here.
Right, so that has a long history actually. That's probably was probably most of the people who really follow the game closely are aware. We've obviously the assault map, or 2CP as it's called. A lot of people had a lot of concerns with it, and we've tried to make a lot of changes to it. In fact, what people might not know is we've gone through multiple phases of like a heavy overhaul of it, but none of them ever really were good enough to go even to experimental part, honestly. I always feel bad because one time I had a new designer join, and one of the first things we gave him was like, overhaul 2CP, what do you want to do? And it was like, the hardest problem ever, go ahead and solve it, new guy. It was like, oh, that's kind of rough actually, in retrospect. So, you know, we've got went through a lot of changes, and it got to the point where we were like, we'd have to make so many changes to get this to where we want it to be. Like, is it even the same mode anymore? And at that point, if we're getting to that degree, why don't we just make a different mode?
Yeah, let's make new.
Why even try to like, you know, change it to that degree? So that's kind of how that ended up coming about, and a lot of it was feedback from the players.
So that's kind of spicy, Jeff. You're trying to say that there's other modes in development. Are you trying to imply that?
I would say that we are constantly experimenting with new modes, but they're experimentation right now.
How crazy!
New York was.
Sorry, Dion, please.
Oh, sorry. New York was. We experimented a lot with New York before landing on the mode that we chose.
I mean, it seems like so many possibilities for that kind of map, right?
Right. Temple of Anubis, when we first showed that at BlizzCon, the shipping version actually changed, you know, to try to fix 2CP even back when the game first came out. So we actually, the version we shared and the version that shipped with the game was pretty different from the choke point standpoint to try to address some of the 2CP challenges. So
we just left that spot in the map. Oh, sorry, Dion, I didn't cut you off.
And that was it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just going to comment on it because we were there, although they just left it. But the other thing I was mentioning about this map, because I mentioned two things, is that area we just left was, it's like this like corkscrew, basically. And it's super interesting. Yeah, it like goes, it basically flips on itself and goes over itself. And you can see it coming up here. So you go under, in this case you would go to the right, and then back up and then cross over itself. It is a really interesting point to play. In fact, when we were first playing it, I remember we had our first feedback session where it was like, I don't know if I like this or not. It's either amazing or it's terrible. I can't even tell. Like, it's super interesting and very impactful. And so we were like, I think that means we keep going with it, keep play testing it, and keep iterating. So obviously having a big impact is almost more important if you can get the good stuff of it. So after a lot of iteration, it's definitely persisted, and it's become kind of the most interesting spot to play around, because
it's a lot of drama there.
The flanks, you can flank from on top to drop down below, because you have to go under this pass, and if you just sit in the middle of that pass as Reaper or something like that and just drop down, of course you gotta worry about be jumping up on you or something. There's actually a little wall on the right you can climb up right there, if you're a character that can climb or grapple or something. So it's just like this, when you're going through that, after playtesting this map enough and playing enough, when you're going under that pass, it's the most like anxiety-inducing spot. It's just like, especially when it's like calm for a while at first, because like, you know, after a fight and you're going, there's no sounds, you're like, okay, what is about to happen here? Where are they going to be coming from? And it's like,
there's a sneaky little alleyway in there too, a tiny, once you're under the bridge, there's an alleyway there. Reaper 76, there's a lot of
so it's like Gibraltar, right? You go through that first or underpass, and you just know it's a little too quiet, you know. You know, that someone's going to show up and clap you. I mean, I'm loving this. It looks like, I mean, the verticality difference between sort of playing in this initial sort of bend and then outside on the corkscrews is huge. Like, you'd have to sort of switch columns almost to try and make the most of it. Cupcake, we've seen now a good, decent bit of Rome. I'd love to get some more of your thoughts here.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's absolutely beautiful. I love all the like architecture and everything in it. I was fascinated when I was watching the preview during the BlizzCon Online on it, and I would, you know, love to get in there and like just go explore it and look around and like figure out like what the best way to go about this is, because there's a lot to it. It's a little confusing, like looking at it from like this perspective, but I'm sure once you get in there and you actually like play it, it makes a lot more sense, you know?
Even at 5v5, yeah, you definitely have the feeling of like franticness or hecticness, you know, sort of around the bot.
Yeah, exactly.
And this seems like a game mode that's catered to like giving these like adrenaline sort of pumping moments of overtime, right?
Oh yeah.
It seems like there's a lot of, yeah, overtime moments.
What I love though is that these buildings don't just seem for decoration. Like even look up at the top right side, right? Like all these buildings you can go in. There's so many more of these nooks and crannies that you can actually explore. That seems like a way more intensive map design process as well, because you have to think of everything. You cannot leave a stone unturned when you sort of turn this tapestry into, you know, something vibrant like this.